it's me, and today I'm talking about the Inheritance game series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I'm doing my series discussion on this series. I'm very excited to talk to you about it since I recently finished it and I have a lot of thoughts. So let's just begin with saying that this will be entirely spoiler free. So if you haven't read the series yet, don't worry, you won't be spoiled. Yeah, let's get into this with a synopsis for the series. So the first book starts off with Avery, who is kind of like poor and like is trying to survive and like getting out of high school to like go on and do bigger and better things. And then one day she randomly gets pulled out of class and told that she is the will of like this rich person who she's never met. So she ends up going to his estate and finding out that she basically got the entire inheritance of Tobias Hartwell, who is a billionaire. And like I said, she never met him, she has no connection to him, so she's very confused. There is one condition to her receiving his inheritance, and that's that she has to live in Hartwell Manor for 1 year, which is a little bit of an issue because the manor is also filled with family members of Tobias Hartwell who expected to get this inheritance and now, you know, have been like cheated out of it. They do still get like a small aspect of it, but like obviously they were expecting to get way more than they ended up getting. And Avery quickly finds out that the grandsons of Tobias, who are like all around her age, have been given a clue to a game that their grandfather set up that might lead to an ancestor. Towards why Avery is there and why she got the inheritance instead of the family. And Tobias Hartwell like used to play games with his grandsons like all the time. They were like a big deal. So yeah, let's just immediately like get into my ranking of the series, which actually is very easy because I feel like the series got better with each book. So in the last place is the Inheritance Games, which is the first one. In second place we have the Hartwell Legacy, which is the second book, and in first place we have the Final Gambit, which is the last book. I said for me it got better with each book. I don't own the first one, so you're gonna have to deal with a picture popping up in that place, but I do own the other two. Different edition though, that's also gonna freak people out. Yeah, let's just go into my individual reviews of these books so you know why they're ranked the way that they are. So yeah, the first book is The Inheritance Games, which I gave 5 stars to, and I thought that this was a great start to the series. One thing, I was a little bit scared of going into this one because you have this person who is not used to like this big fancy rich people world entering this world. I was scared that she was like gonna be like very naive and like maybe taken advantage of by the Hartwell family, and I really like the fact that that didn't happen. Avery is a very smart person and she knows how to stand up for herself, and I really liked how that was done, how she wasn't easily scared away by people and how she like generally like fought for a right to be there because like she had a right to be there. I really liked how that was done. I also really like the Hartwell brothers, which are like the grandsons. They play like a huge part in the series as well, and I really like them and I like that dynamic. I think they have such an interesting sibling dynamic, and they also have a very interesting dynamic with like the rest of their family. It's a very complex family dynamic, and I really like them. I really like the friendships that Avery ends up developing with each of them as well. Avery also has like a half sister that comes along with her, and I really like their dynamic as well. I think they have such an interesting sibling dynamic, and I kind of wish that was a more prevalent part of this book, especially the series, but I still really like it a lot. I really loved like just like piecing things together with our main characters, because every clue like leads to something else, and that leads to something new, and like sometimes it reveals a thing, but sometimes it just like leads you to a different part of the house, and I just thought it was just so interestingly done, and I really liked just like gluing things together with the characters. I really like the reveals in this book. Some were a little bit predictable for me, but like overall I think all of the reveals were done in a very interesting manner, and I really liked the way that they were done. The only problem I really like had with this book is that there is a love triangle in this, which is very much at the forefront, and I don't like it. I really could have done without it. I hate it so much. So yeah, there's all of that. I'll talk more about the love triangle towards the ending, but I wanted to mention that as well in here. And then next book is The Hartwell Legacy, which I gave 5 stars to. I thought this one was a real level up from the first one. I thought this one got a bit more intense, and I really liked how that was done. The main thing I really liked in this book is that all of the characters work together in this one. I feel like for the first one, the mystery, like it was all of like the Hartwell brothers kind of like working separately and like kind of being in competition with each other, because that's just the way the games have always worked in the past, of them like having to work against each other, and like it's a game of like who can figure it out the first. While in this one it really was all of them working together, and that's the only way they could solve this, and I really like how that was done. We also get like more side characters, not just the Hartwell brothers and Avery. We get like other characters in the mix as well who help just as much, and I really like that because I think it created for some interesting group dynamics that we didn't get to see in the first book. but it also, like, each person has like a very different perspective on things, and I feel like that helped solve the mystery. And I really like seeing like people's different ideas of the same clue kind of like play out. I really liked how that was done. I also love that this one focused more on like the family drama. The first book is mainly just like them figuring out why Avery is there, and kind of like the drama. It's the family against Avery basically, even though it's not that. Like the guys also like support her, but like it's basically like that's the point of it. And then this one, it's more like finding like stuff within the family. This is so hard to say without spoilers, but like there's, you know, drama going on within the family, and that's what this book mainly focuses on, about like different things. Yeah, I'm gonna go into spoilers if I go into more depth of this one, but yeah, like I said, I thought this one like upped the antics a little bit. It got a bit more intense, but I just feel like the final reveal, the way this ended, it felt a little bit anticlimactic to me, which is why this wasn't like a full 5-star, but I still really enjoyed this. And then lastly, we have the Final Gambit, which again, I give 4 to 5 stars too. Very consistent rating across the board. I have to say, in the beginning, I did not like this book. I wasn't vibing with it. There's a new character introduced in here, and I didn't like that role in the story. I won't say more about that because I feel like that will go into spoiler territory for the other books, not necessarily for this one, but like for book 2 and book 1, definitely. So I won't say more about that. But even besides that, I just, like, I saw when things would be like being set up, like this mystery is being set up, I saw things play out in my head, and I just hated the way that played out in my head. I just like, if we're going this direction, I will like generally throw this book across the room because that's horrible. I hate it so much. But then in the second half, a lot more things got revealed and things were happening, and eventually I really liked the way it was going. I really liked the different reveals in here. I thought it was very interesting. I also feel like the second half, like some of the reveals in there like fixed some of the issues that like with that character, some things happened, and I feel like things made more sense, and I really liked it. I really love how a lot of the things in this like connected to things that happened as early as book 1, and seem like very minor details in book 1, but like are a part of this mystery in a way, like are referenced in this book as something important, and I really liked how that was done. And I just think overall the story of this book wrapped up the series perfectly. It left us off in such a great place, and I really liked it, especially because if you look at like the ending, it leaves these characters in such a satisfying place where they all are where they should be, and I really like how that was done. And I find it so hard to talk about this book and why I really love this book without spoiling anything, because so much of it is rooted in spoilers. But the only reason I didn't give this 5 stars is because in the beginning I just had a little bit of a rough time with it. So yeah, that was it for my individual review. So let me give you some overall thoughts on the series. As you can tell, I really love the characters and the dynamics in the series. I thought it's all so interesting. Like, they're all very smart people. They might not be like geniuses as in they get the best grades, but they're all like very intelligent, and I really like how these games kind of like play into their intelligence and force them to like think outside the box and like even like become smarter basically. And I really like how that was done. And I really like the different character dynamics because each character is so different and they bring such different things to the table. And I really like how they constantly learn from each other as well. I think it's so well done. The heart and family dynamic is messy, but so interesting. Especially because in the second book we delve into that so much. We delve so much into like the family dynamics and like the family drama there. And there was so much there. And I think it's so interesting, especially seeing the Houghton brothers deal with their grandfather and how he isn't the person that they thought they were. And that's something we delve into each book, and it gets worse each book because, you know, the antics are upped each books and we learn more and more. And I find seeing them kind of reconcile with this after his death so interesting. It's such interesting like subplot basically to this entire series, and I really like the way that it's done. I really like the different games and mysteries in the series. I think they're very well crafted, and I really like the way things ended up getting revealed and how they all ended up playing out. I thought it was so interesting, and I think Jennifer Lynn Barnes like definitely did a great job at like crafting these mysteries and like knowing where things are gonna go, but also like having several misdirects, and it all like completely makes sense. I thought there were some great reveals in the series. Like I said, I did see some coming, but like overall, I think the way the reveals were done were amazing, and I was shocked several times while reading the series. I think these are very captivating reads. Like, you constantly want to know what's going to happen next. The first clue gets introduced like very early on in the books, and then you just want to know what these things mean, because sometimes a clue can kind of be twofold. this is hard to explain without spoiling, but like sometimes one clue can be existence out of two parts, and like one part you'll immediately get the answer to, but like the other part will like come back around like towards the end, and I really like how that's done. And like makes you want to keep reading throughout the entire thing. The only thing I hate in this series, I generally just don't like, is the love triangle drama. It's so bad. It's really bad, and I hate it. I don't like it. I do think it was resolved well. I really like the way it was resolved in the last book, which is why I think it's like a perfect ending to the series, is because it even managed to wrap up this love triangle in a way that's very satisfying and very well done, even if the journey to get there was anything but that. It wasn't well done. It wasn't. I'm not the biggest love triangle person, but like most of the times, like I'm kind of like indifferent. But this one, I really hate it. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Inheritance Games series. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the series, if you've read them. Especially, feel free to discuss spoilers. Just leave like a spoiler warning at the top of your comment. I always love to discuss spoilers, but just leave that spoiler warning at the top of your comment if you can't come to spoilers, just so people who haven't read the series yet know not to read your comments. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. Hopefully, I'll see you guys next time. Good. Bye.